Hey, what's going on everyone? I'm djmoose and thanks for tuning in to the first episode of my next build log series for the Seagull Perestroika. Now it's officially called the Seagull Models Reno Air Care Yak-11, but for all intents and purposes, this is the Seagull Perestroika. So I'm really excited about this plane back here. It's obviously a lot bigger than the previous plane I built, the Maxford USA Hughes H1. And I've been really excited about this plane. Let me give you a little history about this. So obviously I'm going to be showing some pictures of what Perestroika looks like, what this crazy Yak-11 modified airplane looks like. But what happened was Xpwr, before they were sold out a few years ago and bought by new ownership, they had some ARFs for sale, and Xpwr USA, the USA distributor for Xpwr, actually was the single place to buy Xpwr ARFs, and they had a Checkmate ARF, which was really crazy, and this is one of those airplanes I laid eyes on and I'm like, wow, this is sexy, this is crazy. It's just long, sleek, Art Deco-like, so I had to have it. So actually, this was right before Xpwr was being bought out. I got the last model of that Checkmate from Xpwr USA before they went out of business. And I've always been kind of nervous to build it. I'm in love with it. I got the retracts. I planned everything out for it. Just never got around to it. In fact, I was going to build it this winter. However, Seagull Models just came out with Perestroika, their version of this Reno racer. So let me give you a little history of the two different planes and why there's Perestroika and Checkmate. So actually, this is a Yak-11. I've said it was a trainer. The plane, it's actually the same plane, Checkmate and Perestroika. Perestroika was first, it was sold, and then repainted and modified even further to become Checkmate. These were trainer planes. This particular plane was built under contract in the Czech Republic and was sold to the Egyptian Air Force for training. And so when the Egyptian Air Force was done, there was a big lot of these planes that they were done using. And in 1984, a French company bought a bunch of these surplus airplanes. And in 1987, aviation legend Bob Yancey bought this particular plane with thoughts to heavily modify it and get into Reno racing. That's when it started to appear on the Reno circuit as race number 101 Perestroika, this familiar green and silver scheme that we see here, and that's what this Seagull model version is representing. I am not by any chance a Reno racing expert. This is all research I've done, so please, I do not expect to be exact in all these history details here, just to kind of give you an idea of what these two planes are. So it raced for a while and was sold to John Moore in 1997. I assume he did some more modifications, but that's when it was repainted to the silver and blue Checkmate scheme. So it's the same plane, two different owners, and I believe Checkmate last raced in 2006, and there is a Checkmate kind of fan group on Facebook that people are always asking, is Checkmate going to be coming back this year? And obviously the Reno races were canceled for this year, 2020. They're hoping to get them back next year. But I believe the owners are in that group and really open about what's happening. I think it's been sitting in a hangar for several years and hasn't flown for a while. But that's kind of just a really high-level history about this airplane. It was first Perestroika, what this model is. It was then sold to John Moore, Checkmate, 86, I believe. Yes, Checkmate flight racing number 86, the silver and blue scheme. I kind of like the silver and blue. I like blue better than green, but hey, I'm not going to complain. It's Perestroika. And so that's what the model is behind me. And so let's talk about the model a little bit. It is just about 71-inch wingspan. It has ailerons and flaps, and it comes with mechanical retracts, which we'll talk about. You can kind of see them right behind my thumb here. And they're mechanical retracts, but not air retracts, and they have a place built into the wing to mount a servo, a full-size servo to actuate those. And I have a lot of full-size servos laying around, so I'm going to play with that. I think that's the route I'm going to go. Obviously, I'm going to go electric, and we are going to use the Extreme Flight Xpwr 30cc version 2 electric motor, this bad boy, and we're going to be running on 12S, so probably 100 amp high voltage ESC in there. Hopefully that weight will allow us to get a good CG without adding much dead weight. So that's what it looks like. I'm not sure exactly what servos I'm going to use for the control surfaces. I have a bunch of high-tech servos laying around. I have a bunch of brushless Futaba servos that I can't bring myself to sell because the used market for high-end servos is terrible. So I buy these servos knowing I'm going to keep them until they die. So I might use some of those. So as we get into the fuselage and the services, we'll work out the details on exactly what I will be using. But if you look behind me, that's the plane as it came out, and you can see there's some wrinkles in the front of the plane, and not actually towards the tail, because I started with the heat gun and the ironing with the iron to get them out, and I stopped and I was like, wait, this is perfect. I should show this in the video. So you can see where I started from the back forward, and that's actually how I'm going to end out this video. So I'm going to talk and then warn you that the rest of the video is going to be me with a heating gun and an iron getting the rest of those wrinkles out, in case you're interested to see how I do that. But you know, it's one of my pet peeves is people complain and pull an ARF out of the box and see some wrinkles, or see wrinkles develop after you pull it out of the box, and complain and think that it's a poor covering job, or vice versa. If it doesn't wrinkle, they will say that, oh, this manufacturer has amazing covering. But it's really more the fact that that model, you know, is at a certain altitude, air density, humidity, temperature in the factory when it's packaged up, that all those variables change as it sits in a container on a ship coming across the ocean, and then comes to your hobby store or wherever you buy it from, and then it has to go through all those temperature changes again on the UPS or FedEx truck as it gets delivered to your house. Maybe it sits on your front porch for a while. And in my case, we're in the basement here. This model's sat down here. It's the wintertime in Ohio, so it is currently 30 degrees outside, and this is where I work. This is my office as well as my shop, so I have a space heater behind me on the ground, and that means that it can go down to like 62 at night when it gets really cold, but then when I come in and work here during the day, it's up to like 70-ish. So there's a lot of flux in temperatures, and that's why these wrinkles develop. Either it's the fuselage itself expanding, the balsa or contracting, or it's the covering itself that hasn't been fully shrunk. So either way, this is a very common thing you have to do with, you know, a very common first step with an ARF, and it really has nothing to do with the quality of who built these or who put the covering on. I mean, you can look at, I judge the quality of how clean the cuts are, how clean the seams are, that there's no gaps in the seams, and that's how I judge. And from what I can tell, this is a great covering job, and the fact that this plane is coming to Ohio in the winter, that's what I'm attributing these wrinkles. And I'm going to get them out, and most of the time, that last go over of the covering to get all the last wrinkles out after you've taken it out of the box, usually that's all you got to do. So without further ado, we are going to zoom in and watch me get these wrinkles out. Feel free to watch to the end or not. See how I kind of do both the iron and the heat gun. It's a process I've developed over, over many years of building these ARF. Thanks again for tuning in, and let's go ahead and zoom in, and we'll see you the next episode. We're going to start working on the wings, and we'll go from there. So thanks again, and talk to you soon.